SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we got this great article. This one's out of Fierce, and it covers everything that we're expecting from the Q4 earnings and the numbers from all the major carriers. So T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, even big cable, they're all in here. So the Q4 projections to wrap up 2023, which, by the way, are up and coming here in a couple of weeks, right? So super close. We'll get those numbers. But we got the analyst predictions, and then we've got projections for 2024. So let's go over all the items from the article. I'll give you guys my take on how I think it's going to play out, if I agree or disagree. And then let's project 2024 and the factors we think are going to be game changers for next year. Article will be linked in the description. Ways to support us can be found there as well. You could be a YouTube member. You could be a patron supporter. You could support us by buying us a coffee. The links are down there. Please do like and share this video. Comment down below at any point. I've got all types of, the channel markers for all the topics down in the description as well. All right, folks, let's just go down the line here. This is titled T-Mobile Expected to Retain Lead in Q4 Phone Net Ads. I totally agree. I think this is real. I don't think much is going to change. T-Mobile is built for growth. Not much has changed. They do a lot of things that people perceive as adding value with respect to telco. Certain things like taxes and fees and Netflix on Us and some of those plans. Yeah, they do offer a compelling value to customers. So, yeah, I don't disagree at all. All right, let's start first with the T-Mobile piece. The analysts are projecting, and there are a couple different analyst groups. They're projecting between 860,000 and 880,000 postpaid phone net adds. I don't have any qualms against these numbers. I think those numbers are perfectly in line with my expectations. I think there's a little bit of upside, actually. They could potentially pull in 900,000. You never know, right? Holiday promotions, holiday shopping, that season offers a lot of upside for growth. So I think that's very possible, and I think 900,000 is in the cards. So I agree with them at least with those numbers. With respect to Q3 numbers, they were at like 850,000. They're more promotionally active than they've ever been, right, in terms of Q4 seasonal, promotions. So yeah, I think 900,000 definitely in the cards. With respect to Q4 of 2022, they added 927,000. So it's in the realm of possibility for a 900,000 postpaid phone net add quarter. With respect to fixed wireless access, 5G home, T-Mobile's probably going to add at least 500,000 ads. I don't see it being less than that. I see possibly 550,000. So I'm with the analysts. I think that's definitely in the cards. What do I expect for a 2024 for T-Mobile? I think more of the same. I think there's a possibility that maybe the T-Mobile growth train slows by a small percentage, maybe nominally by like 5%. As a whole, the industry is going to slow a bit. Economically, there's concerns about revenue growth and margins growth, and just the economy stability. That being the case, if you anticipate the industry is going to slow, then most definitely T-Mobile would feel it because they are the grower within the industry. That makes them better suitable for a tough economic environment, but still not immune to a potential 18 to 20% slowdown in the industry. So I'd expect them to maybe lose a little bit of steam. Maybe they slow down in growth, like 5 to 10%. I think 10% the most, like if that's on the high side, I think 5% more likely. And to me, guys, in an industry that's going to slow down by 15, 20%, a carrier that only slows down 5 to 10%, they're in the best position for it. That's their take on T-Mobile. That's my take on T-Mobile. What do you guys think? Comment down below. All right, transitioning to the next piece of this, and that is going to be AT&T. So AT&T has been growing. I know a lot of people don't pay attention too much to what AT&T does with respect to their subscriber growth, but it's really good. It's a little bit more profitable than T-Mobile, and so it's better margins. It's not as profitable as Verizon's, right? So they're a little bit less selective about growth. The way that AT&T does it, best industry promotions on their devices. So new and existing customers get the same deals. $1,000 on an iPhone or a Galaxy. That will continue to be the reason why they continue to grow. And it's worked for them. It resonates with the consumer base. AT&T raised pricing a couple of different times in a couple of different ways in the last year or so. They hit the legacy plans a couple of times, and then they just changed the pricing structure to all their existing plans, the modern ones. They added 99 cents to every line, right? They were very cautious with how they did that. They don't want to spike churn. T-Mobile has done a nice job of dealing with churn, reducing it, right? Churn rate is, customers leaving the company. And, so T-Mobile stabilized theirs. And AT&T's been the best, really. So they don't want to change that. They want to keep their customers. They want to add new customers. And that's how they do it. And it's worked. Analysts expecting 500,000 postpaid phone net adds. I think that is definitely a possibility. I think that's undershooting it. I think in a quarter where they're so promotionally active, right, throughout the whole year, but then you get the holiday season shopping element to it, I think 540,000 is a possibility. They had 468,000 in Q3. So I think 500,000 is a baseline. I think up maybe 20, 30, or 40,000 lines could be a possibility. So that's how I think the year's going to close out for AT&T. I think next year is going to be the same. I think it's going to be continued growth in a similar fashion. They'll keep that heavy promotion. They'll continue to be a fan favorite for that, for the device promotions. And I think actually with the potential to keep more customers with AT&T's Internet Air service, they'll keep customers from leaving the DSL piece, joining Internet Air, and that'll keep customers from going to cable providers or fixed wireless access from Verizon or T-Mobile because they'll pay a lower price, right, by having both of the services bundled onto one account. So I think same kind of situation, right, with T-Mobile potentially staving off some of that, right? They could also possibly AT&T stave off some of it with some of those Internet Air keep customers. All right, now let's go to this next piece. I know this one from Verizon is a little bit more important. And here's why I want to talk about Verizon. Verizon, who in my opinion is really, I don't know, would you guys say probably is under fire, right? All right, so Verizon's consumer side constantly being analyzed by the market researchers. What they're referring to as a continued recovery for Verizon. They are saying 230 to 260,000 postpaid phone net adds. So on my estimation, what do I think is going to happen here? And I'm just going to move this because I'm up here by this lady. All right, what is happening here? I'm going to just get out of this. Yeah, so you guys can enjoy that. All right, so 400,000 fixed wireless access customer net adds. I think those numbers are very possible. The 400,000, the 230 to 260 is a little bit high. I think that's a little aggressive. Is it possible? I guess. Do I think it's likely? I don't know, man. I think that's a little too aggressive, in my opinion. So I think 180,000 is legit. I think 200,000 is possible. 230, 260 is just way too high. I'd love to be wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I just don't think that's likely. Prepaid's going to suck, right? That's what analysts are saying. I think that's probably the case as well. So that's something I would agree with. I think at some point, and this might happen in Q1 or Q2 earnings for Verizon, I think they're going to start leading by discussing total connections. I don't think they want to talk about postpaid phone net adds in the consumer group anymore. I think they're going to just stay away from it. They're just going to take postpaid phone net adds on consumer and business combined, and they're just going to start calling them total connections. So that way they don't look bad when those numbers are bad, right? So they'll add 200,000 in the business side. They'll lose 220,000 on the consumer side, in Q1, and then be oh, we added 10,000 total connections. I think it's just going to get to that point. And then, with respect to the fixed wireless access, Verizon's 5G home, guys, it is their growth vector. They are really happy with the outcomes as their, this fast growing home broadband provider. They're going to scale C-band. This is going to get bigger. They're going to become a faster network, more readily available C-band build to more people. They're going to add 400,000 for the quarter, hands down. I think upside for 480,000, 500,000. And I think next year they will continue in a 500,000 net add for the fixed wireless access every quarter. even in Q1, which is seasonally their worst quarter, they could still add 500,000 in fixed wireless subs. They're going into new places with C-band. They're deepening the build. They haven't even put C-band on like 95% of their small cells. Like that's all happening. So they're going to finish upgrading all their macros next year, and then they're going to start building and finish upgrading all the C-band sites for small cells. And they're still going to probably put some to the mmWave build. There's so much growth potential through their network. And I acknowledge that, and I agree with the analysts. There's going to be some growth opportunities. Just has to be framed properly. Let's transition to cable, and let's keep it connected with Verizon in a way. So the analysts project Spectrum is going to add 535,000 for the quarter, Q4. XFinity, 335,000. So that would be a cable ad of like plus 870,000. I think that's right on point. I think that's probably going to be accurate. Now, what does this mean for next year? Well, a lot of those customers aren't going to have free lines anymore. Their promos with Spectrum are running up. Some of those customers are going to churn. Where are they going to go? They're probably going to shop around for the best deal. That maybe puts them at T-Mobile if they have multiple lines, because they can get a free line in that whole, buy 2 lines, get 1 free, or whatever they're doing these days, right? Some may go to AT&T, especially if they can get them as a fixed wireless access customer. They bundle and then they save money. I don't think the customer's looking to go back to Verizon because Verizon's pricing structure may not be to their liking. They'll not go to Verizon over $5 a month. The customer that went to big cable is a very cost-sensitive customer. So yes, they are fickle. They will go to another carrier over $5 a month. I'm not joking. All right, so whether that's AT&T or whether that's T-Mobile, that might be the situation. So that kind of harms Verizon in a way because they're not in play for those customers. Maybe through prepaid. Maybe, but prepaid's still a mess at Verizon. That still has to be figured out. So we'll see how that plays out. That's kind of what I expect next year. A little bit of a slowdown for big cable. And then that puts the big carriers at a chance to maybe scoop up some of those customers. I do think big cable is going to be a big part of that 18% slowdown in the industry. I think it's going to be them taking a big loss, right? I think those customers are going to be looking at prepaid. I think those customers are going to be looking at T-Mobile, especially with a home internet solution. So the total industry for 2024, they're looking at a 7.2 million postpaid phone net adds for the entire industry. That's a 18% reduction year over year. So that means the 2023 expectation is 8.7 million. So that's pretty stark contrast over the previous growth years we've had going back to like pre-pandemic, right? And during the pandemic. So 1.7 postpaid phone net adds for Q4 2023. T-Mobile's going to get like 45% of that growth. Big cable and I guess a little bit Verizon involved there, right? And then AT&T the rest of the way. It's pretty incredible to see how much growth T-Mobile and big cable have, right? It's like T-Mobile and big cable's like 70% or something like that, 80%. AT&T's in there too for about 20-25%. Verizon is not a piece of the consumer segment directly. It's all through cable. I expect next year to be very similar. I don't expect it to change much. I expect, at least 1 or 2 bad quarters from Verizon next year, and I expect 1 or 2 good quarters from them. Right? Probably 2, like Q3, Q4 again. It's going to be another ho-hum year for Verizon with upside through fixed wireless access. The broadband thing is going to be great for them. T-Mobile, a slight slowdown. They'll continue to win in growth. Big cable, I'm concerned about them the most. AT&T, I think they'll be good too. So that's my take, guys. That's what I have to say on all of these elements. What do you guys think of my take? What do you think of the analysts? The chapter markers are down in the timeline. They're in the description for you to kind of go back and check whatever you need to and drop your comments. Let me know what you guys think. Agree or disagree. I don't really care. I just appreciate the engagement. That's what this channel is really all about. It's about giving people a voice, and you all are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.